Good morning, everybody, and this is my weekly trade setups for the week. So if you're new to the channel, this is pretty much where we spend quite a bit of time, a lot longer than our normal videos, and we look at every single pair that I'll be looking at, as well as look at some indexes that I'll be watching over the week. So we've got quite a bit to get through today as per normal. So make sure you've got a cup of coffee and let's get started. So the first one we're going to start off with is Euro USD. So Euro USD has been in a downward trend, and we're starting off with a weekly. We had this pretty strong rally, and then we've had two red bars back into a fairly hefty area of support. So if I put these two levels in here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So you can see right where price is now. It's been used as resistance in the past, and a little bit below it's been used as support, as well as a bit of resistance as well. So in this zone here is something that we'd be looking at, but I'd also be looking a little bit deeper than that, because you'll see there's a third area of support. You can see pretty much how prices come down to this area here. So I'll give you those areas now as soon as we sort of get off the 8 hour. So a couple of things, and I've been talking about these most of last week, is still waiting for a decent pullback to get in on the next leg up. This was the first leg up as far as I'm concerned. We've come back to test some breakouts. We are testing the first breakout at the moment. Okay, and that first breakout level is right over here at 111.837. Okay, and a little bit further down, we have a little gap down here as well, which is sitting at 111.35, and then all the way down at 101.49. Now, one thing that I have been talking about, like a stuck record all week, is pretty much the structure here. Okay, all I'm doing is just drawing trend lines along the bottom. You can see there was an area that we're buying off. Here's an area that they're buying off at the moment, and that's an area that they're selling off. So what is it? It is consolidation. It is confusion. Big up, big down, big up, big down, big up, big down. And see how it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller? That's a classic sign of a wedge. So for me, I'm looking for one of these levels to hold. Not sure whether this area here is the right area, but if we just fine tune it and look to the left, you'll see there's a swing high, there's a swing high. We're just short of that, so that may actually be one of the catalysts that we're looking for. So for me, Euro USD is still sitting on hands, not really actioning anything just yet, waiting for a level to be tagged, and I'm looking for a fairly decent level based on what's going on. So this area here is a daily level as well, so 1.11498, or pretty much the 1.115 area. If you look to the left, there are quite a few other micro levels that we need to pay attention to, but this is the latest one. So that's the one that I'd be paying attention to right now. Okay, so plan of action for me on this is continue, keep it on the watch list, keep watching. We have had the breakout, and I am anticipating buyers to step in again somewhere along the line here. So that is Euro USD. So pound USD, pretty much I won't say similar scenario, but this is a kind of a holding pattern. So if you look at that and you look at this trend line here, you'll see what I mean. We have a triangle, okay? And pretty much if you just head back in time, and I just put two weekly levels on here, that's pretty much the range that we've been playing around in for quite some time. Okay, going all the way back to 2017. Now we did break this range to the downside here. Okay, and the second thing to bear in mind, when you have range breaks like this, often you have a test of the Fibonacci levels within the range. So it'll be the 50% of the range. So there you can see we turned right on the 50% of the range. Just zoom in so you see that. So you can see we had this piercing pattern pretty much off the 50%, just above the 50%. Probably drawn a little bit wrong, but nevertheless you get the picture there. So if I just add a level in there at 50% of the range like that, and let's just make those unselectable and then do that, it becomes a bit clearer. So we had a move down, excuse me, so you had a move down, broke through this previous level, came back up. We're testing another area of support, which is pretty much up there. Look at the tails of these bars here. Bounced off it on the weekly, and then we had a confirmation bar on the weekly here. So another way to look at this is we had a massive move down, and then we've had one move up, one pullback, the second move up. So that's the ABC move. And now we are looking to move to the downside. So pound USD, in my opinion at the moment, is kind of setting up for a move to the downside. Now, there could be quite a bit of things happening next week, or in the coming weeks anyway, in the UK. It's very difficult to ascertain whether noise is driving this or not. But let's just get down to what we can do. Okay, so as you can see, we bounced off a level. That's the 50%. Okay, that was the level that we bounced off. So you can see what would happen here. A lot of traders would have been looking for a short off here. Okay, and then got stopped out and missed this level to the upside. Okay, and now again, if we just take the same logic on the 8 hour here, we've had a strong move up, A, B, C, one push down, one push up, one push down. Now, the second part of this is, remember we spoke about this on Friday or Thursday. We were looking at the 61.8, and just going to put another level in now here on the 61.8, which is right where we are now. Okay, so of this move up, that has been a fairly decent retracement. And then I just want to come back to the daily. Okay, so looking at the daily, we've formed higher highs. Okay, we've formed a higher low. Question is, are we going to form another higher low here? There is quite a bit of support that we can come back into, plus a Fibonacci level here. So it's anyone's guess at the moment of whether this breakout of the bigger range on the weekly is what we need to be paying attention to, or alternatively, is it this leg up that we need to be paying attention to? So for me, being a day trader, pretty much more than occasionally a day trader with occasional swing trades mixed in, I'm looking at this and saying, this was the last leg up. This is the pullback. We're at a level. We're at a Fibonacci level as well. So I'm looking at this area, possibly, well, actually, let's just use a white box here because it's quite a big zone. So I'm looking for some sort of price action in between 123560 and 122736 for a move to the upside. Okay, what would change my opinion of that at the moment is a move up, another lower low. So in other words, probably tag that trend line up there, and you'll see, I was getting busy now, let me just use this top line. You'll see there is a breakout level right there, which is a head and shoulders. So I would see to retest this area and we start rolling, that would give me short. But that short is probably only for bottom of range, to be honest. Okay, so it's a tough one to call at the moment, but I do believe that we are brewing for something at the moment. Whether it's a continuation or whether it's moved to the upside is what the debate is. So if it's a continuation to the downside, you're looking for shorts off 125188. If you're looking, and we're looking for longs at the moment of 123674, and the extreme area would be 122748. Okay, a break below this, these previous swing lows here would obviously constitute us looking for shorts. Okay, and then possibly what we look for is a break off this bottom of range here and a retest of the bottom of the range before looking for bigger shorts. Okay, so that would be 120, 133. So for now, there are two possibilities here. We could bounce off here for a second leg up, okay, and or alternatively, we could bounce up a little bit, hit this head and shoulders neckline, and then bounce down for the head and shoulders target. Head and shoulders targets, that's why we add it. Let's just get that. That would be all the way down here at And if you look to the left, you can see quite a bit of interaction at this area here, and that would be 122063. I would round that up just a little bit, just to take profit. So that would be 122,240. Okay, so anyway, that's my view on pound USD. It's kind of in the middle of I won't call it no man's land, but definitely, you know, we're bouncing off the middle of the range. There's a lot of opportunities, well, a lot of merit to be looking for shorts, and there's also a lot of merit for looking for long. So, you know, typically when you're in that kind of area, you need to be very patient and wait for confirmation before taking that trade, which is exactly what I'm doing, and I've been doing it for 2 weeks. So anyway, let's wait and see what transpires on that pair. So moving on to the next pair, which is the Euro Aussie dollar. Pretty big spike up, massive move back down, and we're right back pretty much where we started. Now, there are two things at play here. And I just want to put both these levels in on the weekly here, because this was, we were ranging, we broke out of the range, we've come back, we've gone back into the range, and we're testing this area. So now the question is this, are we just coming back into the zone that we've been trading in for so many years? So from 2008 all the way through to that beginning of 2020, we're sort of very tight in this range, not really breaking out. Then we broke out, now we've come back. So a big question on the high time frames is, are we just coming back into the range to continue trading the range, or alternatively, have we come back to test the breakout? Okay, so we have been on this pretty strong downtrend. It's been very messy the last couple of weeks. So pretty much from this pin bar here to there, so that's the last 38 bars, 38 8-hour bars, that we have pretty much gone nowhere and got no real direction. Or have we? So the one thing that is very clear is that we are making higher highs. Okay, so there's high, higher high. Okay, we are making higher lows. Now this little anomaly here is a bit of an issue, because again we sort of made a lower high here. But for this, I'm just going to pop down to the 4-hour here, because this is going to give you a pretty clear picture as to what's actually transpiring right now. So that's pretty much what's happening. Okay, and if you use those two lines as your triangle, you'll see we're kind of hovering in the middle of the triangle. And remember, whenever we're in the middle of a consolidation pattern, being a range, a triangle, whatever, it's well advised to just wait for the breakout. Don't try and jump in on it. Wait for the breakout. My bias on this one is to the long side. If you look at all these long indicators, well, they're not indicators, are they? They're price action patterns. So we've got a pin bar, we've got an inside bar, we've got another pin bar, we've got an inside bar, we've got an engulfing bar, we've got an engulfing bar. Transpire that to the top, and I've only really got this pin bar here and engulfing bar here. So there's more buyers coming in than there are sellers. Now the question in my mind is, are the buyers accumulating? So for this, I need a break of this triangle one way or another. A break to the downside would bring me pretty much be looking for short targets all the way down to 159,275. Okay, a break to the upside, and you can see we've got this level drawn in at the moment, and I can fine tune it, because look at that, look at that congestion there. Okay, sorry, just want to make sure we got it. Yep, that's the bottom of it, and we are bouncing off it. See, we used it as resistance, and then we're trying to use it as support at the moment. And the last two bars, you have to zoom in so you can see the last two bars, we've had a pin bar and buyers coming and going into close. There wasn't really any short going on at the moment on Friday. I suppose there was a short there were a couple of shorts there. But yeah, buyers coming in off this trend line at the bottom. I'm kind of leaning towards the fact that we're more than likely going to move back to the top of this triangle right now. Okay, so I'm not really looking for trades at this. I'm putting it on my watch list. I'm waiting for this triangle, this consolidation to break. And you can either call it it's a triangle, but inside the triangle there is also a range. If I just use these levels here, there you can see the range that we're in at the moment. Okay, to break the downside, breaks that downward trend line, which would give us a short down to 159275. A break above this, I want to see a retest of it, because then we're going to be right on the trend line, the downward trend line. So I wouldn't want to take that trade until I've had a retest and we start rolling back to break through this trend line. Then I would take that for a move to the upside. And targets the upside are pretty straightforward. That's the first one, okay, which is 165517. Get through that, then obviously you just keep drawing your lines on the inside tails here until you get to the area that we're heading for. Anyway, so that's your Aussie dollar. It's well worth keeping on the watch list. Not doing much at the moment, but there is potential for things happening in the future. So moving on to Euro Japanese yen. So Euro Japanese yen is another interesting one, because we've had this long downtrend from 2017. We've pretty much been in this downtrend. Okay, we've had this massive breakout to the upside. We're now coming back. That's a pretty bearish candle, another bearish candle. Okay, and the thing that's interesting me at the moment is we've had this breakout here. Okay, you can see the weekly bar close on it. We came back, we tried to get above it, and we failed. We're down below it again. Now pick up the next level, which is right there, which is the swing low here. Okay, and if we just do a Fibonacci on this pair as well, you're going to see we're at the 50% Fibonacci with the 61.8 a little bit further down over there, which is another breakout. Okay, and you can see a lot of congestion and buyers coming off this level. Let's just delete this Fibonacci if we can. There we go. Right, so if we come down to the 8 hour now and just start having a look at what is transpiring. So looking at the weekly, it's looking like we're moving back to the downside. Okay, looking at the 8 hour, this is another pattern which is fairly common across all, well, of course, a lot of currency pairs at the moment, is wedges forming. This is almost a channel rather than a wedge, but still it is a consolidation pattern. If you look at all the tails up and down, there's no clear direction. It is drifting to the downside, but it's not, how do I put it? It's not accelerating the downside. Okay, we are looking for support, and you can see we found the first level of support. Buyers came in, didn't materialize, so we look for the next level. The next level looks a little bit more interesting. Look at what's going on here. Okay, so this area here of 119228 is interesting me at the moment for a move to the upside. Okay, bearing in mind we're at Fibonacci levels as well. Okay, the 50% Fibonacci there, the 61.8 is further down, and 61.8 also lines up with this head and shoulders. There are a couple of head and shoulders here. So there's one here, shoulder, head, shoulder. Then there's shoulder, double head, shoulder. Okay, so this is the one that I'm looking at the moment. So I'm looking at one of these levels here to buy off. So until then, any move back up, and I'm going to use this level here, any move back up into 120.274 without us tagging one of these two levels is going to offer a selling opportunity. So you can see we have had this pullback onto that area, and I'd just be very wary. I wouldn't want to be selling down here. I want to be selling up here for a move into this area. So you're probably going to find opportunity to sell into this area. It'll bounce up, probably another opportunity to sell. If it breaks through, then you've got an opportunity to aim for 118253. But I'm rather cautious at that, so any selling is going to be high up, and any buying is going to be off a pretty much, I want to see some decent higher highs coming or higher lows coming in off the level before I commit to it. But it is something to watch for as well. So on the 8 hour, you can see massive move up, and then we've had this 1, 2, 3 moves. So big move down, small move up, big move down, A, B, C. So that is potential for a reversal pattern. And I said it last week, there's a lot of reversal patterns on the go. Let's get to the daily. Or looking to start. And even the daily and the 8 hour coincide. It's just our weekly, which, although it is a higher high as well on the weekly. So it's just this price action. You see exhaustion bar, inside bar, continuation bar. Normally when you see that kind of stuff off a level, you're pretty much convinced you're going to have a move to the downside. And it did come off a level. You can see there's a level there. Okay, but I just have a sneaky suspicion, just based on how this trended down and how it accelerated up, this is coming back to find the breakouts and test them. If those breakouts hold, then you have a potential trend change, which is basically going to mean a stronger euro. And based on what's happening at the moment, logically it doesn't sound like it's going to happen, but remember, these markets are forward looking, so it's looking into where we're going to be in the near future. Okay, so that's just another interesting one for me to watch. And as I say, I'm anticipating a bounce off a level and a bit more choppy price action before a continuation back to test these highs here. Okay, the next pair that we are looking at is Euro British Pound. So Euro British Pound is another one which we're at a level, and I'm just going to put this level in. And in fact, I'm going to put 2 levels in here because there are 2 areas that we want to be interested in. Not quite that, but we do want to be looking at these 2 areas here. So on the low side, we are looking at 0.90042. On the higher side, we're looking at 0.91062. Okay, so firstly, we had this massive move up. We've had a pullback. Now, that pullback, was it onto a Fibonacci level firstly? Yes, it was. Straight at the 61.8, we hovered around there for a few weeks, and we bounced off it. Okay, so Fibonacci traders would be sitting long on this pair right now. I just want to delete that and just make those 2 permanent. But if you look to the left on the weekly, there's a lot going on here. So for us to get through, we did get through it already. We have broken through it. We've come back. We haven't quite tested it. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for tests of these 2 areas. So we're looking for price to come back, hold it, and then move to the upside. The first scenario is this one here. We have closed above this bottom level of 0.9042 on the weekly. But as far as I'm concerned, that is my first test. So if I come down to the 8 hour now, you'll see we've broken up. We've had 2-bar pullback. It's held. We've broken up. We're moving up. So I'm looking for longs on this pair. So any pullback into well-defined structure is what I'm looking for. And I'm just going to use this white block here. That is well-defined structure. Sellers were in there. We've come back inside there. We've broken through it. So a retest of this area gets me long, and my take profit area is going to be 0.91062. So the simplicity of what we're looking for at the moment. And you can do this pretty much off the 1 hour now. And this is just a little bit of education here. You can see a move up. So as soon as you see a well-defined area, so these tails indicate a well-defined area. So my new well-defined area is going to be on the hour, is going to be around there. So I'm looking for price to come back into this area, hold it. So it's 0.90244. Your stops are below the previous swing low. It is trending up. I mean, that's pretty clear. You can see on the 1 hour at the moment. Don't even need to draw a trend line. You can see it's moving to the upside. Move it back down and bring it up to we're looking for this target here of 091062. So that is pretty much the one pair that I'm definitely looking to get into on Monday. So looking for this consolidation to either break the upside and then come back and test it, or alternatively move down into this area of what was resistance. I want to turn it into support and then move the upside. You can add your trend line to this as well, because you'll see that we are bouncing off a trend line as well. It'll just give you an extra edge as to where to buy in on this. But this is definitely a pair that I'm looking at for a move to the upside. The next pair, which is USD Canadian dollar, and this pair is looking interesting as well. So we've had the breakouts, we've come back, we've closed the gap, and then we've had this weekly sort of piercing pattern here, and then we had a pretty much a nothing week, except for the fact that we have closed above the previous levels. Okay, so if we come down to the 8 hour here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we've mucked around here, strong move up, and then we've pretty much gone sideways. But there is something transpiring here, and it's quite simply, let's just get this. It does look like it could be a flag. Okay, it looks like move down flag, looking for another move down. And that move down will come back and test this area here. It's not a big move, so it will come down to test this breakout here of 134852. So that is pretty much possible. But the fact that we are holding above the moving average here leads me to believe I should be looking for moves to the upside. And the moves that I should be looking for are going to be as follows. Delete those. I'm looking for a breakout of this area that we're in and a retest of this area. Okay, I'm looking for a breakout of 136173. So I want move price to come up, and then I want price to come back down and test this area. Again, if you look at the hour, you can see pretty much range bound, but look at all the high lows. Okay, if I draw a line along the bottom, that gives you a flat top triangle. Okay, so that is definitely the area we want to see break. 136173, I want to see price get above it, and then that is going to be my area of interest, which is going to be right there, because it's a massive area of resistance right now. We break through it, we come back, we hold it, it's going to become a massive area of support. So it's pretty, I mean, you can run a fairly tight stop, and your target is going to be pretty much the previous highs to start with, 136768. But coming up onto the wider time frames, you'll see there's a much more interesting area of potential resistance, which is up here, and that is 137332. Just pay attention, because that also validates a cup and handle, inverse cup and handle, is a breakout of 136768, and that is more than likely going to target this area all the way up here to start with, which is 138527. So another thing that I'm really watching for at the moment, if we do break below these swing lows, then anticipate a move all the way back down to 134828. But I'm looking for the long one to break and the retest of this. So that's another one we're on. Okay, so those are the currency pairs that we're looking at. And what we're also looking at is gold, because gold is another interesting development that has happened. So firstly, we have this range, okay, and we're on the weekly, remember, so we have been in this range for quite some time. But the minute we come down to the lower time frames, you'll see a very clear inverse head and shoulders here. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Inside here is also a double bottom. There's our double bottom. Okay, down one leg, up, down one leg. Use a level here, and you'll see we have broken through the neckline, and we've come to test it a lot. Okay, so at this stage, I am anticipating that gold is going to be moving to the upside, and you can see where it's heading. These are the previous highs, so you can see this cluster of highs here. Just put another level in there. You can see this. There's a pretty big area of resistance, so that for me is the area that we are targeting right now, which is 1777, and at the upper end of that 1800. Okay, if we get through that, then you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to get 1896 with gold. Okay, so this is definitely looking like an opportunity. So a couple of ways to play this at the moment. Let's get this one. And the most logical one is going to be, just use this level to wait for a break of this area here. Okay, so if you come down to the hour for your trade here, you can see we're pretty much hovering on that area. I want to see a break and a retest. If we don't get through that, then I'm looking for a move the way down into this area or even here. So any pullback into 1737 or alternatively 1730 is going to get me long on this pair as well. Okay, so gold, when I say pair because it's paired against the dollar, but anyway, so that's pretty much what I'm looking for. It's been in this range for a long time, and normally when you have a big level above you and you're ranging like this, the probability of getting to it is pretty high most of the time. So that's what I'm waiting for on gold. The three indexes that we're looking at the moment, so DAX is the first one that we're going to look at, and that is, I don't know what to make of the DAX because we had we've had a big up, big down, big up, big confusion 3 weeks. So it's up, down, up, confusion. The fact that we closed above the previous week's low gives me some indication that we should be probably looking for a continuation of the upside, but with the noise in the market at the moment, I'm not entirely sure that we can do that. I can't use the 8 hour on the DAX because DAX I'm trading doesn't trade 24 hours, trades pretty much closes the US market and opens on European market. So if you look at the daily, look at what transpired here. Sellers coming in off the top here. So if we just come down to 4 hour, you'll see this range here. So for me, we've got this gap to the downside, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see the gap close, and I also wouldn't be too surprised to see the bottom be tested. For me right now, the DAX, based on what happened last week, well, most of last week, not all of last week, because this was the beginning of last week, but this scenario here, it can play out two ways. It can either play out to the downside, come and test the lows, or we can break to the upside and get our continuation. Okay, until we break through this range, I'm not really interested in the DAX at all. And you'll see that's a continuation, which would give us a new high. And I think that's what a lot of traders are waiting for. The trend is still up. It doesn't even matter if we pull back to this area, it's still an upward trend. Basically just going to make a bigger range. And these two levels that I've drawn in here are pretty much very strong weekly levels as well. So the last couple of days, as you can see there, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, has really been nothing. You can see sellers stepping in up there. So the sellers are in control, but they're not really winning until we break this range to the downside. Then we can look at it. So another way of doing this as well is just get rid of the noise. If we just look at the Fibonacci, you can see what we're bouncing off, 61.8. So there is potential for a move to the downside. Okay, down to here. Which technically still leaves it in an upward trend. If you look at the daily, we're still in an upward trend. That would be a healthy pullback. I'm just not entirely convinced that the monetary system is going to allow that. So your banks around the world, your reserve banks, your Feds, the Bank of England, the European Bank, the European Union, I just don't see them allowing the market to fall. It's not in their best interest. So whether they're going to just print more money and get these things moving, or whether they're going to try and hold them in a range, sort of just until the economy starts recovering. I mean, it's anyone's guess, I suppose, but I just don't see them letting this happen again. They've got a pretty good recovery on the go at the moment, so healthy pullbacks are healthy. So you'll probably see a little bit of a pullback on this, but I'm not interested in this pair at all. So the DAX, as far as I'm concerned, is going to go into not even into the watch list at the moment until I get some signal coming out that's going to say we have something decent transpiring. Okay, the next one is the Dow Jones. So Dow Jones is one that I've been watching I pretty much watch it all the time. And this is another interesting one because, again, our weekly close, as like the DAX, our weekly close is above the previous red bar. So technically, we had a green week. So we've had an up week. So we had this rally, then we had a down week, and then we've had an up week. So, this could be a 1 bar pullback in an upward trend. So that when you look at it on the weekly. Now, just bear in mind, we've got this pretty big area of resistance above us here, and that's 26,391. And we've also got a fairly big area of support below us. Well, we've got a couple. There's one there, which is pretty much where we kind of opened on. Okay, I'll just put that there, and we've closed above it. So with that in mind, if you come down to the 8 hour, and we look at the price action at the moment. So our DAX, we have had pretty much nothing going on. We had some poor data come out with the jobs number. That didn't really impact the market at all. And then we had a bit of a sell-off here. Was it sort of profit-taking? I don't know. There wasn't much going on, so I can't see it really being profit-taking. But I think what happened as well, we had some negative news from Apple who are closing stores. Now, here's my view on Apple closing stores. So the last couple of months, most online retailers have been booming. Okay, so doesn't it make sense that Apple have realized that they can actually make the same amount of money, if not more money, be more profitable from an online business rather than a brick and mortar store? So I'm not entirely convinced that closing the stores is a sign of Apple fading. Okay, but anyway, so that's kind of what drove a lot of the selling on Friday, and then the fact that it was Friday as well. Okay, so, and I spoke about this quite some time last week, but that is still a consolidation flag for me. Okay, and this here is still a double bottom. So my double bottom takes me to there. My measured move on a flag takes me to there. Okay, so both of them take me back to the previous highs. So that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment, but based on this big up, big down, big up, big down, all these tails, barbed wire, that's just a sign that nobody knows what the hell's going on. So me included. Everybody's like really confused and trying to read into the charts of what's happening and look into our crystal balls and figure out a mechanism to trade. And you're going to have bears that have got this breakout close here. We're like, okay, cool, we're going down. Then you're going to have bulls that are going to be saying, well, we're still in this upward trend line. So probably a little bit of a further pullback, and then we're going to buy. And where does that pullback come to? Not quite there, but that is one of them. But you'll probably find something like that. You see where all the support is here and support there. Come back and test that area before buying again. It doesn't matter which way you look at it. I think the markets are confused at the moment. And the only way you're going to be making money out of these markets is dropping down to the lower time frames. And when I talk lower time frames, I'm talking like 15-minute time frames, because then you're going to get your sure bets. So you're going to get your breakouts and your retest, and you can see there, right there, is a breakout and retest. There was the first one. You can see we popped below it, up, sell, came back to test it, and then sold again. Okay, so this could have been profit taking for the short that was running on Friday, more than likely, I would say. But anyway, I'm not convinced of the shorts at the moment. I'm more inclined to believe that we're looking for support, and the buyers are going to step in from support to drive it up. The fact that the Nasdaq is at an all-time high, and the S&P and the Dow Jones are lagging is another story completely. And lastly, we're going to have a look at the S&P 500. So S&P 500, pretty much a very similar picture to what we see on the Dow, except a bit more clearer. You can see we've had a proper close into the week. There's not quite a piercing pattern. The close would have had to be higher for a piercing pattern on the weekly chart, but nevertheless, trend is up. Okay, we have closed above this level of resistance. Okay, so that level of resistance, which is 30.31, and we closed on 30.69. Okay, so we've closed above that. We've closed above 3,000 as well. So coming down to the 8 hour, same picture. Complete confusion range. Okay, and as far as I'm concerned, that is still a range. Okay, probably just bring it down to the bottom there, but that is a range. This is a double bottom still, that's a range. So move down, up, another move down, okay, onto an area of support, possible, or have we just come back to test this area here, which is bottom of range, and closed on it there. So I mean, you could get a gap down, find support here, and then rally back into this range, and we just muck around in this range for a while. I think till we break through that range, that's the only time I'm going to start looking for anything, but I'm really not looking for shorts on this pair. There's just no ways that I'm going to be looking for shorts here. I just want to highlight one last thing here, and that is there is our trend line. So we are trending to the upside. So what we're looking for is some kind of support to be found, and then we'll bounce off that to the upside. Okay, so I think the moral of the story here on the indexes is Monday morning wait. Most of the currency pairs is wait, except for EURUSD, Euro British Pound. That's the only one that we really will be looking at first thing Monday morning. The rest of the market is going to get keep my money in my pocket and just wait to see what transpires. But the indexes, especially the S&P and the Wall Street, I'm looking for opportunities to buy. I'm not looking for opportunities to sell. And yep, until this trend line breaks, well, until the trend breaks, that is the way I'm going to be doing this. There's so many different patterns here at the moment. I mean, this is also consolidation, and we could argue that we broke that to the downside. Yeah, we could. But what we could also argue is that we have some kind of weird diamond formations and butterflies and all sorts of things. But anyway, not my trading style. I'm just looking for what area of support are we heading for, and even if we do head back down to test these lows, I'm still a bull. Okay, doesn't mean I won't take some of the shorts on the way down, but for now, that is the scenario that I see right now, and I'm looking for an area of support, and I think we're at one, to be honest. So if this breaks, I want to see a break, retest, and then move to the next level. Alternatively, I want to see a bounce, retest, and then a move up. Okay, until that something like that happens, I'm on the sidelines. Anyway, if you're still watching, thanks so much. Appreciate the support. Appreciate a thumbs up. It helps us grow the channel. And fire away any questions or drop us a comment. It also helps us a lot. And we're looking forward to the new week. Hopefully there's some better opportunities than we had this last week. But yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. And sometimes you have good weeks, sometimes you have bad weeks. Anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of what's left of the weekend, and we will catch you later. Cheers for now.